Okay guys, I have stumbled across something that I think is revolutionary. So far, I've only seen this product be used in Europe and Australia, but it is soon to be coming to the US and you are gonna see it here first. This product is amazing, super simple to use, has a million applications, and the best part, if you're a maker, this is perfect for you. Not only can you get super creative, but this product can be such a great complement to candles and room sprays. So if you want to know what this amazing, eco-friendly, water-based product is, stay tuned. Hey guys. Okay, so I'm sure you're dying to know what this wonderful, amazing product is. It is something called Jesmonite. Now, if you've seen on Instagram, and that's how I discovered this product, there are these accounts in the UK and Australia that have these amazing looking trays and coasters, and it looks like they're made out of cement or, you know, something like that. And I was always wondering how they got these vivid, beautiful colors and patterns. And then I realized the product is called Jesmonite. Unfortunately, the makers of Jesmonite are located in the UK, so it is like difficult to find. You can find it in Australia readily available, and of course in Europe. But there is a new company in Canada, which I will link down below, that is shipping the product to the US. And of course, I had to get my hands on it. So let me back up a little and tell you how this all started. Now, I love to be crafty, and I wanted to make something that complemented my candles. So I'm thinking like, you know, coasters or like those cute little oval trays that you see everywhere. But a lot of them were made with epoxy resin. If you don't know, epoxy resin is highly toxic. You know, it burns if you get it on your skin. You have to wear safety goggles, gloves, aprons, the whole nine. A lot of people wear ventilator masks with it. And since my brand is an eco-friendly brand, that obviously was not working. So I got really frustrated, but I stumbled across some Jesmonite on Instagram in this beautiful page that was located in the UK, and they had these gorgeous trays and they were so beautiful, all these colors. And so I started looking up Jesmonite, and then I heard and realized through my research that Jesmonite is water-based, eco-friendly, and it is nothing like epoxy at all. There are no harsh fumes or chemicals. You do not have to wear gloves, and which I don't wear gloves a lot, which sucks because I ruined my manicure, but you don't have to wear gloves, you don't have to wear like protective goggles or anything like that. The other best part, so if you're used to using concrete to make, you know, different kinds of trinket trays and candle holders and things like that, well, concrete takes hours, if not days, to fully set. Jesmonite takes 30 minutes. You heard that right, 30 minutes for this fabulous product to set. Not to mention the array of colors that you can get. Not to mention the array of decorations that I am so happy to be able to show you. So what am I talking about? Okay, this is Jesmonite. Look at that. This is made out of Jesmonite. This is also a silicone mold that I just added color to, and I mixed it, and then I have a little coaster. These are ones that I made that have the astrological signs. So these are super, super cute. I love these so much. I made every single astrological sign. And again, silicone molds. But check this out. Look at that! Isn't that cool? This is also made with Jesmonite. So this is what I'm going to show you how to do today. We're going to do some, this is scrapbook paper. So we're going to do some scrapbook paper, and I'm going to show you how to make a tray that looks just like this, but of course in time for Valentine's Day. But you can do color blocks, which this one turned out really pretty with the yellow and the pink and the orange. You can also do gold foil. So look how pretty that turned out with gold foil and also a marbling technique I did on here. So I'm telling you, this stuff has a million applications, a million uses. It is so amazing. Sets in 30 minutes, super simple to use. Now I'm gonna take you step by step on how to make one of these beautiful trays. And we're gonna be using scrapbook paper. And since Valentine's is coming up, this is the pattern that I chose. Cute little hearts. So I'm gonna show you how to make a Jesmonite tray using this scrapbook paper. It's gonna set in 30 minutes, and then I will show you how we unmold it and how we finish it off. Stay tuned. Okay, so first things first, we're gonna go over the materials that you're going to need to make the tray that I showed you earlier. So obviously you're going to need Jesmonite. Jesmonite as a product is a powder and liquid that you combine at a 2-to-1 ratio. And once it's combined, you add your color and then you pour it. It's super simple and user-friendly, but just know that it comes in 2 separate parts. So you have a powder component and you have a liquid component, and we'll be mixing them. Again, I'm going to link down below the company that I use, which is located in Canada, that ships to the US this particular product. So of course, we're gonna need our Jasmineite. The next thing you're gonna need, I like to use these pouring pitchers. I get them off Amazon. I'll link it down below. But these are really nice just because once you mix everything in here, you can just pour it into your mold really easily. So we need that. Of course, we're gonna need a scale because we're going to measure everything out by weight. We're going to need color. So since I'm doing a Valentine's Day tray, I have a little bit of red color. Now, Jesmonite does sell pigments, and they are very highly pigmented. So while they're expensive, for a small bottle, it's like $15 or $16, they're highly pigmented, so you don't need a lot. Otherwise, what you can use, if your color is going to be very light, like pastel colors, is you can just use acrylic paint. But remember, don't use a lot of acrylic paint, otherwise it's not going to set right. But if you have just where you need a few drops, acrylic paint will do the job just fine. I'm also going to be showing you kind of like a hot pink swirl technique, and that is being done with hot pink mica. So that's going to be very cool. You can add mica. I have gold mica that I've done swirls with as well. So you can pick any mica and swirl it into your design. It looks really cool. And then, of course, we're going to need our mold. Now, these molds are readily available on Amazon. They're not very expensive, and they come in packs of 3. So I will be linking that down below. This is your standard oval tray. This is what you see most makers use. And this happens to fit, it's this one, happens to fit 2 of my candles perfectly. If you make room sprays, it fits room sprays perfectly. It's a great little trinket tray. So I love this particular mold. So we're going to be using this, and then of course our scrapbook paper. Now if you're going to be using scrapbook paper, make sure it's like the thicker paper. You don't want to use super thin paper for this because it might get wrinkled. You want to use thicker paper, and you want to cut it to the inside. So here's your mold. This is the inside. Outside, inside. So you want to cut it so that it goes around the inside and fits the inside perfectly, like that. And then you're also going to need a couple other items. I love to use popsicle sticks to stir if I'm just making a couple trays. If you're making more than a couple trays, I would definitely invest in like an immersion blender to make sure that everything is really well mixed. What you don't want lumps or anything like that. But since I'm just doing one, a popsicle stick works perfect. Since we're doing the scrapbook paper, we do need something like a Modge Podge to seal the paper, just in case it gets any water or anything on it. So we will need this just to seal it. And then this is one of those cute little sponges just to put this on. And then always good to have, I like to have these sanding blocks. These you can get at any hardware store, and they're really inexpensive. And that's just in case you get some sharp edges, which is possible sometimes, but usually you don't have to sand a lot. You just want to sand out your edges. And then the last thing we need I like all natural wax, and that's how I seal my trays. All of my trays are sealed with wax. It just makes the color stand out, and it just gives it a nice kind of shine and seal. Now, is this product waterproof? The answer is yes and no. If you have it where it doesn't have any paper or anything, technically yes, this is waterproof. You can dip the whole thing in water and nothing's gonna happen to it. It is a porous material though. So keep that in mind, that if you continuously keep it in water, it will erode at some point. But can water go on this? Sure. Yep, that's not a problem. Now, if you're doing the trays that have the paper on them, those are not waterproof. So I like to let people know if they are interested in one of the trays that has paper on it. I'm like, it's great to hold candles, it's great to hold room sprays, it's great to be a trinket tray for your keys, for jewelry, for your nightstand. It's great for that, but I let them know I wouldn't put it in a bathroom, or I wouldn't like get it where it could be wet. I wouldn't put like a bottle of water or something that could get wet eventually on it. Even though we're sealing it, enough water is gonna make the paper erode and ruin. So just something to keep in mind. This is not waterproof what we're doing today, but we seal it with the Modge Podge just to protect the paper when you start putting things on top of it. Okay, so let's get started. So the tray that we're doing today, like I said, is one where I use scrapbook paper. And this is some examples of the paper that you can use. Almost anything, you just cut it to size and it will work. But again, make sure that the paper that you're choosing is a thick scrapbook paper. One good thing is if you go to Michael's, they have an entire section of individual sheets of scrapbook paper with different designs on them. Pick the thicker sheets. Those are the ones that would work perfect for this. You don't want to pick ones that are too thick like cardboard, but you don't want ones that are like super thin paper. You want the ones that are just a really nice kind of scrapbook, thicker kind of paper, okay? But as you can see, sky's the limit for decorations. Okay, so I have done the math for you, and I will be sharing that for this particular size tray, it is 270 grams total of both the powder and the liquid. The way I've broken it up is 200 grams of the powder and 70 grams of the liquid. So that's what I'm gonna measure out now. And again, so this is in grams. Now, I am wearing gloves, but that's because I just got my nails done and I don't wanna ruin them. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we are going to get in grams, which we are, and we're gonna tear it out. There we go. And so I always start with the powder. So this is what the powder looks like. And so we're gonna go ahead and we want 200 grams. Ooh. We went a tiny bit over. There we are, 200. Okay. And now that we have that, another thing to keep in mind when you're doing this is you want your tray all ready to go with the paper on it, and you want your design thought of ahead of time, because as soon as you add the liquid, the clock starts. You're not gonna have a ton of time to mess with this. So just keep that in mind, that you want to make sure that you know what you're doing ahead of time before you start mixing. So this is the liquid. And so we want 70 grams of this. There we go. If you go a little over, no big deal. And so now I'm gonna start mixing. Now remember, like I said, if you're doing just one tray, then this is totally fine to use something like a popsicle stick or a spatula to mix. But if you're doing anything bigger, or you're doing maybe like 5 or 6 trays at once, you may want to invest in an immersion blender or something that can mix this motorized as opposed to by hand. Okay, so you can see how it's coming together. Want to make sure to scrape the sides, scrape the bottom. you want this to be as smooth as possible. Okay, we don't need our scale anymore. And now we're going to add a little bit of our color. So I usually start with a couple drops. And I'm just looking for a pink color. So here we have a pretty pink, beautiful. So remember what I said, when you're doing color, you can use acrylic paint, that's okay. But if you're doing like black or something really vibrant or dark, you definitely do not want to use acrylic paint. You're going to need way too much of it, and it's going to mess with the chemistry of your mixture, and it's going to not set properly. But if you're doing just a couple drops like I did, then you are totally fine using acrylic paint. All right, so we have our beautiful pink color. Now the fun part, I'm gonna add some of my hot pink mica. And this, I'm just kind of, there we go. How much or how little you add, you know, doesn't really matter. Again, just keep in mind that whatever you add is going to change the chemistry. So this, I kind of want it to be a marble look, so I'm not going to mix it in too much. I want to have those beautiful marble looking lines, but we are all set. I just want to make sure there aren't any big clumps. Okay, so we are all set. See how easy this is? So I have positioned my piece of paper perfectly on my tray. And now we're going to pour. If you want, you can scrape the sides, get every little last bit in. Okay, so this product does sometimes produce air bubbles. So what you want to do is along the sides, start tapping. And that's going to bring the air bubbles to the surface. And it's also going to make sure that you get inside every nook and cranny. A little bit, there we go. So you want to be gentle with it, but you see how all those air bubbles, they're all coming to the surface. There we go. If you want, you can kind of move them around a little bit, get rid of them. There we go. Perfect. And now we wait. All right, guys, we are now ready for the big reveal. So this is, it's been about 30 minutes. It's nice and hard. And we're just gonna start pulling away on the sides. And then we pull away. Ta-da! How pretty is that? Ah, it's so, so pretty. So this is our whole design. So pretty. Now, as you can see, some of the edges here are a little bit raised up, and that's what we want to sand down. So you take the sanding block, and we're just gonna sand down these edges. Because these edges can be a little bit sharp sometimes. So you're just looking to even them out and sand them down a bit. Just like that. So everything is nice and smooth now. We don't have any sharp edges. So now what we want to do is we want to take our Modge Podge in our handy dandy little guy. And we're just gonna do a quick coat of Modge Podge on top. And you don't need to put a lot on. So I kind of just put it on like this. And then I use a sponge like this. And I just blend it in. There we go. So pretty. And then you want to take the wax. So again, I just use this like all natural wax, food grade. And with the other side, we're going to take some wax and we're just going to seal the outside, and you can see that it gives it a nice, beautiful shine. Towards the top, and then of course the back. And there we are. We have our beautiful tray with our beautiful pattern. It's nice and sealed and ready to go. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I will link a few other videos that I think that you might enjoy. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. And as always, I will see you guys next time. Bye.